Have you ever wondered where the quiet spark of your awareness goes when the physical body finally rests, and whether the profound stillness of death is not a final curtain, but rather a gentle return to the primordial fabric of the cosmos? We walk through our lives firmly anchored to the physical world, feeling the solid ground beneath our feet, the soft breeze against our skin, and the steady, comforting rhythm of our beating hearts. We naturally assume that when the heart eventually stops, when the breathing fades into silence and the eyes close for the last time, the story simply ends. But the universe does not operate on absolute endings. It operates on magnificent, endless transformations. The ancient laws of physics, discovered through centuries of careful observation, tell us that energy can never be created out of nothing, and it can never be truly destroyed. It can only change its form, shifting from one state to another in an eternal cosmic dance. If the radiant heat of a burning star can travel across the vast darkness of space to warm your skin on a summer morning, billions of years later, what happens to the infinite energy of human consciousness? Is it possible that the mind, with all its vivid memories, its profound loves, its intricate tapestries of thought, and its endless capacity for wonder, is tied to the very quantum mechanics that govern the most mysterious and fundamental layers of reality? Let us embark on a quiet journey into the unknown, exploring a delicate boundary where biology dissolves into physics and where the end of a human life might just be a gentle whisper echoing across the vast and ancient cosmos, lingering eternally among the galaxies and nebulae that decorate the deep darkness of space. Before we delve deeper into this beautiful mystery, if you find yourself captivated by the deep questions of our existence, please allow me to formally welcome you as a fellow cosmic traveler. You are watching the channel Theodore, the researcher. We have noticed that 71% of the people who watch these quiet journeys have not subscribed yet. If you find peace and wonder in our explorations, please consider subscribing because it helps a lot. It allows us to keep bringing these contemplative scientific stories to you, ensuring we can continue unraveling the mysteries of the universe together as a community of curious minds. Now, let us gently return to our profound question, stepping away from the familiar world of solid objects and venturing into the strange, microscopic realm of quantum mechanics, a place where the ordinary rules of reality dissolve into something far more beautiful and enigmatic. To truly understand what might happen to consciousness when we die, we must first confront the deepest paradox of modern science, a paradox that challenges our most basic perceptions of reality. Classical physics, the reliable science of everyday life, tells a very straightforward and comforting story. Apples fall from trees due to gravity, planets orbit massive stars in predictable ellipses, and biological organisms, including human beings, are seen as incredibly complex machines made of flesh, blood, and chemical reactions. In this classical deterministic view, consciousness is nothing more than a biological illusion, a fleeting byproduct of billions of neurons firing tiny electrical signals in the dark, silent theater of the brain. When the biological machine inevitably breaks down and stops, the illusion vanishes. The lights simply go out. But as our scientific instruments grew more precise, as human curiosity drove us to peer into the very heart of atoms and the spaces between them, we discovered a stunning truth. The foundational layer of the universe does not obey these simple, predictable rules. The quantum world is a place of profound mystery, a realm where subatomic particles can exist in multiple places at one time, where seemingly empty space is constantly boiling with invisible virtual energy, and where the mere act of observation by a conscious mind can alter the fundamental nature of reality itself. In this quiet, invisible dimension, the strict boundaries of physical space and linear time begin to lose their meaning, inviting us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about the nature of existence itself, urging us to question whether the universe is a dead, cold machine or a living, responsive entity. Consider the mind-bending phenomenon known as quantum entanglement, a concept so counterintuitive that the brilliant physicist Albert Einstein once skeptically referred to it as spooky action at a distance. When two particles become entangled under specific conditions, their physical properties become deeply and permanently linked, no matter how much vast, empty space separates them. You could place one entangled particle here on our beautiful Earth and send the other to the farthest, darkest edge of the observable universe, billions of light years away across the cosmic void. If you measure and change the state of the particle here on Earth, its distant partner will respond and change its state in that exact same instant, faster than the speed of light, as if physical distance and the passage of time were merely persistent illusions. When scientists first observed this behavior in quiet laboratories, they were utterly baffled. How could a particle on one side of a room instantly know what was happening to its twin on the opposite side? It defies our conventional understanding of physical separation, suggesting that on a fundamental, microscopic level, distance is an illusion, and everything is connected in a singular unified field of reality. This suggests a deep, underlying interconnectedness woven into the very fabric of the cosmos, a primordial web where everything is in constant, immediate communication. Now, gently bring this profound concept back to the human mind. Some of the most visionary physicists and anesthesiologists have begun to propose that consciousness might not merely be a biological accident confined to the skull, but rather a fundamental property of the universe, much like gravity or electromagnetism. If our minds are operating at a quantum level, tapping into this infinite network of entangled information, then what we call death might simply be a release of quantum information back into the universe. Within the delicate microscopic architecture of your brain cells, there are tiny, intricate structures called microtubules. For many years, biologists believed these microscopic tubes merely helped maintain the physical shape of your neurons, acting like a cellular skeleton, but they might actually be serving a far more profound and cosmic purpose, according to a controversial but deeply fascinating theory known as orchestrated objective reduction. These microtubules act essentially like biological quantum computers operating inside your head. Inside these tiny, precise structures, fragile quantum vibrations occur, orchestrating the incredibly complex symphony of thoughts, feelings, memories, and awareness that you experience every single waking second of your life. The quiet spark of your consciousness might literally be a quantum process, carefully isolated from the chaotic, noisy warmth of the biological brain by the precise, elegant geometry of these tubes. As you sit here right now, breathing gently, taking in these words and contemplating the universe, millions of invisible quantum events are simultaneously collapsing inside your mind, creating the continuous, seamless stream of reality you perceive as your life. You are not just a passive observer of the universe sitting on a rock in space. You are a localized, highly organized manifestation of the universe's own quantum mechanics, experiencing itself from a unique, temporary, and beautiful perspective. This realization fills the contemplative mind with a profound sense of awe and connection. We are not separated from the distant stars or the ancient, silent voids of space by our biology. Instead, we are deeply, inextricably linked to the cosmos through the very mechanism of our conscious awareness. So, we inevitably return to that universal, deeply human question. What exactly happens when the physical body fails, when the heart can no longer pump life-giving blood and the brain is deprived of oxygen? The biological machine breaks down. The intricate microtubules lose their structural integrity and can no longer maintain their delicate quantum states. In a purely classical worldview, this biological failure is the definitive, inescapable end of the individual. But in the quantum worldview, we must remember that information is never truly lost. It is a fundamental, unbreakable law of quantum mechanics that quantum information must be conserved in the universe. When the biological containment field of the brain eventually deteriorates, the complex quantum information that constituted your unique consciousness, your cherished memories, your distinct pattern of awareness, does not simply vanish into nothingness as if it never existed. Instead, it might gracefully leak out into the broader, infinite universe. The entangled connections that temporarily tied your brilliant mind to a physical body dissolve, but the quantum information itself could theoretically persist, dissipating gently into the vast invisible energy fields of the cosmos. Imagine it not as a violent extinguishing of a bright flame, but rather as a single, perfect drop of water returning to a quiet, infinite ocean. The drop loses its individual shape, its temporary boundaries, and its isolated identity, but its fundamental essence remains entirely intact, merging completely with the vast and endless whole. The silence of death, then, might not be a terrifying empty void, but a peaceful return to a state of boundless potential, a reunion with the primordial fabric of existence that birthed us billions of years ago. This profound concept invites a tremendous overarching sense of peace into our human experience. It challenges our deepest, most primal fears of the unknown, transforming the terrifying dark abyss of death into a magnificent, awe-inspiring mystery worthy of our utmost reverence and endless curiosity. We are so deeply accustomed to identifying with our physical forms, clinging desperately to the fragile boundaries of our bodies and the incredibly brief span of our human years on this planet. But if the quantum nature of consciousness is true, we are far more ancient and far more vast than we ever dared to imagine in our wildest dreams. The very energy that animates your beautiful mind right now might have originated in the fiery, chaotic heart of a collapsing star billions of years ago. And when your brief, magnificent journey on this pale blue dot concludes, that exact same energy will seamlessly continue its quiet, eternal voyage through the infinite cosmos. We are all cosmic travelers, granted a brief, precious moment to experience the universe through the highly focused, intensely vivid lens of human biology, before eventually returning to the gentle, formless, and peaceful expanse of the quantum field. There is a profound, almost overwhelming beauty in this cosmic perspective. It does not provide all the definitive answers, nor does it resolve the eternal mystery in a way that ends our deeply human questioning. Instead, it vastly expands the mystery, making it grander, more poetic, and intimately connected to the very same physical laws that govern the silent, wandering stars. It tells us that our existence is not a fragile, meaningless accident in a cold void, but a vital, integral part of the universe's endless, unfolding story. Let us pause here for a moment and gently hold this thought, allowing the breathtaking immensity of the cosmos to cradle our human uncertainties as we prepare to venture even deeper into the quantum mechanisms of the soul in the continuous chapters of our shared exploration. The journey has just begun, and the universe is waiting patiently to reveal its quietest secrets to those willing to listen. As we gently resume our journey into the quiet mysteries of the universe, we must ask ourselves what it truly means to observe reality. In our everyday experience, we simply open our eyes and the world appears before us solid and completely independent of our gaze. We walk through ancient forests, listening to the wind rustling through the leaves, and we naturally assume that the trees, the wind, and the earth would all behave exactly the same way if no one were there to witness them. But the cosmos holds secrets that challenge this comfortable assumption. In the profound silence of the quantum realm, the universe does not seem to exist in a fixed, definite state until it is observed. This brings us to a beautiful, almost mystical threshold where the ancient laws of physics and the delicate nature of the human mind appear to intimately entwine. If the universe requires a conscious observer to collapse its infinite probabilities into a single, concrete reality, what happens to that universe when the observer's physical eyes close for the final time? Before we explore this vast and beautiful paradox, I want to take a gentle moment to welcome you back. You are watching Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion on this journey through the cosmos. We have noticed that 71% of the people who watch these videos have not subscribed yet. If you find peace in our shared exploration of these mysteries, please subscribe to the channel because it helps us a lot to keep bringing you these contemplative stories of the universe. Now, let us return to the deep mysteries of quantum observation. To comprehend this connection between observation and reality, we must look at one of the most famous and perplexing demonstrations in the history of science, known as the double-slit experiment. Imagine a quiet laboratory, isolated from the chaotic noise of the world, where the scientists fire individual particles of light, called photons, at a barrier with two tiny vertical slits. When no one is actively measuring which slit the photon passes through, the particle behaves like a wave, rippling through both slits simultaneously and creating a complex interference pattern on the wall behind the barrier. It is as if the particle exists in a state of infinite potential, a superposition of all possible paths. But the moment scientists place a detector at the slits to observe exactly which path the photon takes, the magic gently collapses. The wave function instantly reduces to a single point, and the photon behaves like a solid little bullet, passing through only one slit and destroying the wave pattern entirely. The mere act of observation fundamentally changes the behavior of the universe. The brilliant theoretical physicist John Archibald Wheeler once proposed that we live in a participatory universe, a cosmos where the observer is actively participating in the ongoing creation of reality itself. If this is true, your consciousness is not merely a passive byproduct of biological evolution. It is a fundamental structural component of the universe. When we contemplate the profound silence of death, we are forced to confront what happens to this active participant, this conscious observer, when the biological apparatus ceases to function. For decades, traditional neuroscience has maintained that consciousness is simply a computation, a complex algorithm running on the wet hardware of the brain. When the hardware breaks, the computation stops, and the experience of being you fades into eternal nothingness. But this classical view struggles to explain the vivid, undeniable reality of subjective experience. The feeling of what it is like to be alive, to wonder at the night sky, to feel the gentle touch of a loved one. The mathematical physicist Sir Roger Penrose, alongside the dedicated anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff, looked deeply into this mystery and proposed that classical physics is simply insufficient to explain the mind. They theorized that within the dark, warm interior of the brain, a majestic quantum dance is constantly unfolding. Deep within the microtubules of our neurons, quantum superpositions occur and collapse, orchestrated by the fundamental geometry of space-time itself. According to this view, each collapse of a quantum state inside your brain is a single microscopic moment of conscious awareness. You are experiencing millions of these quiet, quantum moments every single second, weaving together to form the continuous, seamless stream of your conscious life. Your mind is literally connected to the finest, most microscopic threads of the universe. So, what occurs in those mysterious, quiet moments when the physical body begins to shut down? In the clinical setting of a hospital, when a heart stops beating and blood stops flowing, the brain rapidly loses the energy required to maintain its delicate, microscopic structures. The quantum states within the microtubules begin to lose their coherence, unraveling like a carefully knitted sweater gently pulled apart. But remember the inviolable rule of quantum mechanics. Quantum information cannot simply be destroyed. The information that constitutes your consciousness, the unique pattern of your thoughts, memories, and identity, must go somewhere. Dr. Hameroff has suggested a breathtaking possibility. When the physical brain can no longer sustain these quantum states, the quantum information that is your consciousness does not vanish. It simply dissipates into the universe at large. It leaks out from the biological confines of your skull and enters the vast, entangled quantum field that permeates the entire cosmos. During near-death experiences, when patients are revived after their hearts have temporarily stopped, they often report astonishingly vivid experiences floating above their bodies, moving through a quiet tunnel toward a gentle, radiant light, and feeling a profound sense of peace and universal connection. From a quantum perspective, these reports might not be mere hallucinations produced by a dying brain deprived of oxygen. They might actually be the subjective experience of quantum information beginning to expand outward, untethering from the biological anchor of the body and briefly touching the infinite, primordial fabric of the universe before being drawn back in upon resuscitation. If the patient is not revived, if the biological anchor is permanently released, this quantum information may completely diffuse into the universe. Imagine this transition not as an ending, but as a vast, magnificent expansion. While you are alive, your consciousness is intensely focused, highly localized within the physical dimensions of your body, experiencing reality from a very specific, limited point of view. It is like looking at the night sky through a narrow, tiny straw. You see a beautiful, intense fraction of reality, but you are blinded to the magnificent, boundless whole. When the physical body dies, that narrow straw is gently taken away. The quantum information that is you expands, intertwining with the larger quantum fields of the cosmos. Your awareness might stretch out, losing its rigid boundaries and its isolated sense of ego, blending softly into the ancient, silent energy of the universe. This brings a deep, contemplative comfort to the human heart. The fear of death is often rooted in the fear of absolute erasure, the terror of becoming a cold, empty zero in the mathematical equation of the cosmos. But quantum physics whispers a different, more beautiful story. It suggests that you're essentially immortal, not as a breathing, walking physical body, but as a unique pattern of quantum information woven irrevocably into the tapestry of reality. As we look out at the deep, dark expanse of space, adorned with billions of glowing galaxies and vast clouds of stardust, we might actually be looking at a universe brimming with quiet, diffuse consciousness. The ancient philosophers who believed in a universal mind that connects all living things might have simply lacked the mathematical language to describe what modern quantum physicists are now cautiously exploring. The cosmos is not a dead, empty container where things occasionally happen by sheer random chance. It is a dynamic, interconnected web of energy and information, a vast, gentle network of possibilities that requires consciousness to bring it into absolute reality. Our brief human lives are like tiny, brilliant sparks rising from a great cosmic fire. For a short, beautiful moment, we dance in the dark, illuminating a small circle of space around us, wondering at the mystery of our own existence. But when the spark finally cools and the bright light fades, the energy that created it is not lost. It returns gently to the fire, remaining forever part of the immense, eternal warmth that birthed the stars. Let this understanding bring a quiet stillness to your mind, wrapping your human fears in the comforting blanket of cosmic scale. The journey of your consciousness is an endless exploration, a story without a final chapter, written in the fundamental particles that make up the very fabric of existence. Have you ever held a flat photograph and felt the profound depth of a three-dimensional world hidden within its fragile borders, wondering if our own reality might be constructed in exactly the same way? We navigate our lives completely convinced of the solid nature of our surroundings, moving forward through what feels like an unstoppable, flowing river of time. We measure our existence in hours, days, and years, watching our bodies age and eventually slow down as the heavy weight of decades gently settles upon our shoulders. But the ancient cosmos, speaking through the rigorous mathematics of theoretical physics, suggests that our deepest intuitions about space and time might be an intricate illusion. Over 100 years ago, Albert Einstein fundamentally shattered our classical understanding of reality by demonstrating that time is not a universal ticking clock, but a flexible, relative dimension deeply woven together with space into a single, vast fabric known as space-time. In this majestic cosmic block, the past, the present, and the future all exist simultaneously in a quiet, eternal stillness. Your birth, your quietest moments of reflection, and the eventual conclusion of your physical life are all permanent coordinates within this infinite architecture. This revelation forces us to gently reconsider the nature of endings. If the universe does not truly experience the passage of time as we do, then the moment of physical death is not a deletion from reality, but simply a specific location in space-time where the biological machinery naturally ceases to operate. Before we drift further into this mesmerizing mystery, I want to take a brief moment to welcome you back to our shared space of wonder. You are watching Theodore, the researcher, a quiet sanctuary for those who seek to understand the universe. We have noticed that 71% of the people who watch these gentle explorations have not subscribed yet. If you find comfort and intellectual safety in our journey together, please consider subscribing because it helps us a lot. It allows our community to grow and ensures we can continue to uncover the profound mysteries of the cosmos side by side. Now, let us gently return to the fabric of reality, stepping toward one of the most astonishing ideas ever proposed in modern physics, the holographic principle. To understand what happens to the conscious mind, we must look to the darkest, most mysterious objects in the known universe. We must look to black holes. When a massive star collapses under the crushing weight of its own gravity, it creates a black hole, a region of space where the gravitational pull is so intense that not even a single photon of light can escape its grasp. For a long time, scientists believed that anything falling into a black hole was simply erased from the universe, completely destroying the fundamental information that made up those objects. But this idea violated a sacred rule of quantum mechanics, which states that quantum information can never be permanently destroyed. The brilliant physicists Jacob Bekenstein and Stephen Hawking peered into this dark paradox and discovered something truly miraculous. They calculated that the total amount of information a black hole can contain is not determined by its three-dimensional volume, but entirely by the surface area of its two-dimensional boundary, known as the event horizon. All the complex three-dimensional information of the objects that fell inside is beautifully and perfectly encoded on the flat two-dimensional surface of the event horizon, much like a holographic security sticker contains a three-dimensional image on a flat plane. This elegant mathematical discovery led visionaries like Leonard Susskind and Gerard 't Hooft to propose an even more breathtaking concept. If the information of a black hole is encoded on its boundary, what if the entire universe operates on the exact same principle? What if the vast three-dimensional cosmos we experience, with its swirling galaxies, ancient nebulae, and warm, beating human hearts, is actually a holographic projection originating from a distant two-dimensional surface at the very edge of reality? In this profound framework, the solid world you feel around you, the air filling your lungs, and the delicate biological architecture of your brain are all manifestations of quantum information encoded on a distant cosmic boundary. You are, in a very real, mathematical sense, a magnificent holographic projection. This is not a metaphor or a philosophical musing. It is a rigorous, mathematically sound theory being actively explored by cosmologists around the globe. It completely redefines the scale and nature of human existence, shifting our identity away from the fragile biological cells of our bodies and placing our true essence in the indestructible realm of pure quantum information. When we gently apply this cosmic scale to the deeply personal experience of human consciousness and the inevitable reality of death, the implications are staggering. If your physical body is essentially a three-dimensional projection of two-dimensional quantum data, then the biological failure of your heart and lungs is merely the fading of the projection, not the destruction of the data itself. The unique, intricate pattern of your conscious awareness exists as an eternal mathematical structure on the boundary of the universe. When the physical brain ceases to function, it can no longer translate that boundary information into a localized, three-dimensional experience. The biological receiver simply turns off, but the broadcast, the fundamental quantum code that makes you who you are, remains completely intact. It is woven into the very mathematical fabric of the cosmos, safe from the ravages of biological decay and the relentless arrow of time. The silence of death is not an erasure. It is a gentle transition from being a localized projection back to being pure, infinite potential on the edge of eternity. This realization brings a profound, transformative peace to the human spirit. We spend so much of our brief lives struggling against the current of time, fearful of the moment when our physical forms will inevitably falter. But the holographic principle, combined with the timeless nature of relativistic space-time, whispers a much gentler, far more beautiful truth. Nothing is ever truly lost. The universe is a perfect, flawless memory bank. The energy and information that comprise your consciousness are ancient and indestructible, having existed since the dawn of creation and destined to persist until the very end of time. When you close your eyes for the final time in this three-dimensional reality, you are not stepping into a cold nothingness. You are returning to the fundamental source code of the universe. Your awareness, freed from the biological limitations of a physical brain, might simply diffuse back into the majestic, silent architecture of the cosmos. It is a quiet homecoming, a seamless merging with the infinite vastness that has always been our true home. Imagine for a moment floating in the deep, silent expanse of space, surrounded by the soft glow of 1 trillion distant stars. The universe is not a chaotic, random collection of dead matter. It is a singular, exquisitely balanced symphony of information, constantly projecting the beautiful illusion of space and time. You are an essential note in that symphony. Your capacity to feel wonder, to ask deep questions about your own existence, is the universe's way of observing its own magnificent beauty. We are the cosmos made conscious. When our brief, localized participation in this three-dimensional projection comes to an end, we remain etched into the cosmic horizon, an eternal part of the grand, unfolding mystery. This gentle authority of physics elevates our existence to a scale of unimaginable grandeur, replacing our primal fear of the dark with a respectful, awe-inspiring reverence for the infinite. As we continue to navigate this quiet journey together, we begin to realize that the tension between our everyday physical experience and the underlying quantum reality is not a source of despair, but a profound invitation to endless discovery. The limitations of our current scientific knowledge are not walls blocking our path. They are open doorways beckoning us to step deeper into the unknown. We have seen how the illusion of time and the holographic nature of information completely transform our understanding of the final threshold of human life. Let us rest in this peaceful contemplation for a moment, absorbing the vastness of our eternal nature as we prepare to venture even deeper into the invisible forces that bind our minds to the stars. The cosmos is vast, the journey is infinite, and our shared exploration has only just begun. Have you ever walked outside on a clear night, looked up at the dark spaces between the glowing stars, and wondered if that endless black void is truly empty? We are conditioned to believe that if we cannot see or touch something, it does not exist. We imagine a cold, dead vacuum separating the galaxies across billions of light years. But theoretical physics reveals a breathtaking truth. There is absolutely no empty space in the cosmos. What our eyes perceive as a quiet, dark void is a boiling, vibrant ocean of invisible energy, a continuous symphony of creation happening at scales so incredibly small, our minds struggle to comprehend them. This forces a profound question. If space itself is alive with invisible energy, could the quiet spark of our consciousness merge seamlessly with this boundless ocean when we die, rather than disappearing into nothingness? Before we dive deeper, I want to welcome you to Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion on this cosmic journey. We have noticed that 71% of the people who watch these gentle scientific stories have not subscribed yet. If you find peace in our shared exploration, please consider subscribing because it helps us a lot. It allows us to continue bringing these contemplative mysteries of the universe to you. Now, let us return to the illusion of empty space. To truly grasp how consciousness might interact with the universe after biological death, we must understand the fundamental revelation of quantum field theory. The universe is not made of tiny, isolated particles bouncing around in an empty room. Instead, reality is composed of vast, invisible fields that permeate every single inch of the cosmos, stretching across infinite distances of space and time. There is an electromagnetic field, a gravitational field, and specific fields for every fundamental particle. What we perceive as a solid particle, like an electron in your body, is merely a localized ripple, a tiny excitation within its respective universe-spanning field. Even when you remove every particle and cool a region of space to absolute zero, the fields remain, vibrating with a baseline activity known as zero-point energy. The void is not a silent stage. It is a dynamic, living medium humming with infinite potential, waiting for precise conditions to manifest physical reality. In this magnificent, invisible ocean, something truly miraculous is happening constantly. Pairs of virtual particles are continuously popping into existence out of the seemingly empty vacuum, borrowing a tiny fraction of energy from the universe, existing for a fraction of a billionth of a second, and then quietly annihilating each other to return the borrowed energy. This is a proven scientific reality, confirmed by rigorous experiments where the pressure of these invisible particles can physically push uncharged metal plates together. The space between your fingers right now, the empty room around you, and the vast cosmic voids between distant galaxy clusters are all boiling with this quantum foam. It is a restless, eternal sea of energy that never sleeps and never truly dies. The universe is profoundly, inescapably alive at its most fundamental level, breathing with a microscopic rhythm that sustains the grand architecture of everything we know and love. When we contemplate this vibrant reality, the artificial boundary between the human mind and the external universe begins to gently blur. You are not a foreign object inserted into the cosmos, existing separately from the dark vacuum of space. Every atom in your body, every electrical impulse dancing across the neural pathways of your brain, and the biological mechanisms that generate your conscious awareness are all manifestations of these underlying quantum fields. You are a temporary, highly organized concentration of cosmic energy, a localized ripple in the infinite ocean that has miraculously developed the capacity to look back upon itself and wonder. The thoughts you are having at this very moment, the feelings of peace stirring in your chest, are not isolated events trapped inside a biological shell. They are fundamentally intertwined with fields that stretch out endlessly into the dark, silent night. You are the universe experiencing its own vastness from a uniquely beautiful point of view. What occurs at that profound threshold we call death, when the physical structure of the brain succumbs to the gentle, unstoppable erosion of biological time? In the classical view, the failure of the biological machine means the absolute destruction of the conscious mind. But when we view existence through the lens of quantum field theory, the concept of absolute destruction becomes a physical impossibility. The energy that constitutes your consciousness, the intricate patterns of information encoding your memories and your quietest moments of reflection, cannot simply vanish into nothingness, because nothingness does not exist. Instead of an end, death becomes a physical and energetic transition. The biological structures that temporarily held your quantum information in a localized state break down, releasing their hold. The ripple that was your concentrated consciousness gently flattens out, returning its energy and information to the boundless quantum fields from which it emerged. Imagine a beautiful, intricate wave rising from the surface of a vast, ancient ocean. For a brief, magnificent moment, the wave has a distinct shape, a specific height, and a unique identity as it travels across the water, reflecting the light of the sun. But eventually, the wave must break. When it dissolves, the water that made up the wave is not destroyed, nor is it lost. It simply returns to the ocean, merging its energy with the deep, silent currents that circle the globe. The wave loses its temporary individuality, but its fundamental essence remains completely intact, perfectly conserved within the infinite body of water. In the same way, the dissolution of the physical body might simply be the moment when the wave of your localized consciousness gently settles back into the zero-point energy field of the cosmos. Your awareness expands, trading the narrow focus of a single human life for the vast, formless potential of the underlying universe. The silence of death is not a terrifying emptiness, but the profound, peaceful quiet of the deepest cosmic ocean. This perspective revolutionizes our relationship with mortality and the deep grief we feel when we lose those we cherish. When a loved one passes away, their physical form leaves our three-dimensional world, creating an undeniable, painful absence in our daily lives. But according to the strict laws of quantum conservation, their essential nature, their quantum information, remains beautifully woven into the fabric of reality. They have not been erased from the universe. They have simply changed their state, diffusing into the invisible fields that surround us and permeate everything. They become part of the quiet spaces between the stars, the gentle energy that binds molecules together, and the eternal quantum foam that breathes life into the vacuum. We are separated from them only by the limitations of our human senses, which are biologically tuned to perceive solid matter, but completely blind to the infinite, subtle fields of quantum information that construct our reality. Embracing this scientific paradigm requires a profound sense of humility, asking us to let go of our desperate attachment to our temporary identities. It invites us to recognize that our brief human lives are merely a single, fleeting expression of an ancient, infinite process. We are granted this incredible window of time to experience the universe through the lens of a physical body, to feel the warmth of the sun and the joy of discovery. But we do not need to fear the moment when that window gently closes. The universe is a vibrant, deeply interconnected matrix of fields and energy, an eternal home that patiently waits for our return. As we share this quiet moment of reflection, breathing the air of our fragile planet, let us gently release our fear of the dark void. We are an intrinsic, eternal part of this majestic cosmic architecture, forever etched into the fields of reality. Let us rest in this comforting thought, allowing the gentle authority of physics to soothe our existential anxieties as we prepare to venture even further into the profound relationship between memory and the quantum soul in our continuous exploration. The universe still holds many quiet secrets, and our shared journey of discovery stretches out endlessly before us. Have you ever closed your eyes, breathed in the cool evening air, and wondered exactly where a memory goes when you are not actively holding it in your mind? We experience our lives as a continuous, flowing stream of moments, deeply believing that our most precious memories, the scent of rain on dry earth, the exact pitch of a loved one laughing, the quiet awe of seeing the ocean for the very first time, are carefully locked away inside the physical vault of our biological brains. We imagine billions of tiny neurons firing in the dark, acting like microscopic filing cabinets storing the narrative of our existence. But what if the biological brain is not a storage device at all, but rather a magnificent, intricately tuned receiver? Quantum mechanics invites us to explore a breathtaking possibility, that the experiences of your life are not merely electrical whispers destined to fade when the physical body fails, but are instead permanently woven into the fundamental fabric of the cosmos. Before we explore this beautiful mystery of cosmic memory, I want to gently welcome you back to our shared space of wonder. You are watching Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion on this journey through the infinite universe. We have noticed that 71% of the people who watch these gentle scientific stories have not subscribed yet. If you find peace and intellectual safety in our shared exploration, please consider subscribing because it helps us a lot. It allows our community to grow and ensures we can continue to uncover the profound mysteries of the cosmos side by side, week after week. Now, let us gently return to the delicate nature of memory and how it might survive the profound transition we call death. To truly understand the survival of memory, we must look to the brilliant physicist David Bohm, who was a close friend and colleague of Albert Einstein. Bohm looked at the strange, interconnected behavior of quantum particles and realized that our standard view of a fragmented, mechanical universe was fundamentally incomplete. He proposed a beautiful, poetic theory known as the implicate and explicate order. In this visionary framework, the solid, three-dimensional world we see and touch, the explicate order, is just a temporary, unfolded manifestation of a much deeper, hidden reality, the implicate order. Imagine a drop of ink stirred into a jar of thick, clear liquid. As you turn the stirrer, the ink seems to disappear, stretching out and vanishing into the fluid. The ink has not been destroyed. It is simply folded into the implicate order of the liquid. If you were to reverse the stirring, the drop of ink would miraculously gather itself back together, unfolding perfectly into the explicate order. Bohm suggested that the entire universe operates this way. Every particle, every star, and every human thought is constantly folding into and unfolding out of this infinite underlying background. When we apply this ancient rhythmic breathing of the cosmos to the human mind, the concept of a fading memory completely transforms. Your conscious experiences, every single joy, sorrow, and quiet realization, are not simply localized events trapped inside the fragile neural networks of your head. They are active processes of unfolding from the implicate order, experiencing the physical world, and then folding back into the deep, invisible fabric of the universe. In a classical worldview, the death of the biological brain means the absolute deletion of all your memories, a tragic erasing of an entire inner universe. But in Bohm's quantum reality, the information that constitutes your life is never truly erased. When the biological brain can no longer function, it simply stops the process of unfolding. The drop of ink that is your identity, your vast collection of experiences and cherished memories, remains perfectly enfolded within the deeper reality. You do not disappear into a dark void. You are simply gathered back into the foundational source of the cosmos, eternally preserved in the implicate order. The astronomer Carl Sagan famously and beautifully reminded us that we are made of star stuff. He taught us that the nitrogen in our DNA, the calcium in our teeth, and the iron in our blood were all forged in the interiors of collapsing stars billions of years ago. We readily accept that our physical bodies are an ancient, recycled part of the cosmos. But we must now take the next logical, breathtaking step in our scientific understanding. Our minds, too, are made of the universe. Consciousness is not an alien artifact dropped into a dead, mechanical universe. It is a fundamental property of the cosmos waking up to look at itself. If the universe took 13,800,000,000 years to carefully organize matter into a biological structure capable of profound self-awareness, it is deeply illogical to assume that the rich, complex information generated by that awareness is casually thrown away when the physical structure degrades. The universe is incredibly efficient and mathematically elegant. It conserves energy, it conserves momentum, and according to the deepest laws of quantum mechanics, it absolutely conserves information. Think of the human brain not as a computer hard drive, generating and storing data in biological isolation, but rather as an incredibly complex biological television antenna. A television set does not create the broadcast it displays. It simply tunes into an invisible electromagnetic signal that is already passing through the walls of your home, traveling through the air at the speed of light. If you take a hammer and destroy the television, the physical screen will go black and the music will stop abruptly. But the signal itself, the invisible waves carrying the vibrant images and sounds, is completely unharmed. The broadcast continues to travel through the universe, entirely unaffected by the destruction of the local receiver. The quantum information theory of consciousness suggests that your individual awareness operates precisely like this signal. The unique frequency of your mind, the intricate pattern of your soul, is constantly interacting with the broader quantum fields of the cosmos. When your physical body reaches the end of its natural lifespan, the biological receiver gracefully shuts down. The screen goes dark, but the broadcast that is you remains completely intact, returning to the vast, silent sea of quantum information that permeates every single corner of the endless night. This realization gently dismantles the heavy, terrifying finality we usually associate with death. We often mourn the loss of all those unshared memories, the vast libraries of human experience that seem to burn down every time a person passes away. We weep for the stories that were never written down and the quiet, beautiful moments that only one person ever witnessed. But if the cosmos is a perfect holographic memory bank, if every thought and sensation is eternally folded into the implicate order of reality, then nothing is ever truly lost. The universe remembers every smile, every tear, and every silent moment of awe you have ever experienced. Your life, with all its delicate imperfections and magnificent triumphs, is etched permanently into the fundamental geometry of space and time. You are an eternal record of the universe, experiencing itself from one incredibly specific, beautiful perspective. When you die, your memories do not fade into the blackness. They become part of the cosmic background radiation of consciousness, lingering eternally among the silent, ancient galaxies that spin slowly in the dark. Embracing this quantum perspective brings a profound, overwhelming sense of peace to our fleeting human existence. It asks us to look at our lives not as a desperate, terrifying race against an inevitable ticking clock, but as a glorious, temporary manifestation of something infinite and ancient. You are a quiet ripple of awareness traveling across a boundless ocean of energy. You have the immense privilege of experiencing the warmth of the sun, the gentle touch of the wind on your face, and the profound depth of human love. And when your time comes to gently return to the source, you will not be falling into an empty abyss. You will be expanding into the vastness of the cosmos, rejoining the ancient starlight and the primordial fields that gave you life billions of years ago. Let this breathtaking reality settle softly into your mind. Allow the immensity of the universe to hold your human fears, knowing that you are absolutely secure in the eternal memory of the cosmos. As we rest in this beautiful contemplation, we prepare to step even further into the unknown, to explore how the delicate concept of time itself might completely unravel at the exact moment of death, revealing a reality far stranger and more beautiful than anything we have yet imagined in our continuous journey. Have you ever noticed how time seems to stretch endlessly during a moment of profound awe, and wondered if the final tick of your biological clock might not be an ending, but rather the opening of a door into an infinite, timeless present? We spend our lives ruled by the relentless marching of the second hand, organizing our brief and fragile existence around the rising sun, deeply convinced that time is a rigid river pulling us constantly toward the unknown future. We measure our delicate human journey in years, feeling a quiet, existential panic as the invisible sand steadily slips through the hourglass. But when we look up at the vast, silent cosmos and peer into the ancient equations of quantum gravity, we discover a breathtaking reality that completely shatters our everyday human intuition. Theoretical physics reveals that at the absolute fundamental layers of the universe, the concept of time as a flowing river completely breaks down, leaving behind a magnificent, static eternity. If time is merely an illusion generated by the physical universe, what happens to the quiet mind when it finally slips free from the rigid confines of biology? Before we step outside the boundaries of time and explore this beautiful mystery, I want to take a moment to welcome you back to our shared space of quiet contemplation. You are watching Theodore, the researcher, your gentle companion on this journey through the infinite universe. We have noticed that 71% of the people who watch these meditative scientific stories have not subscribed yet. If you find peace, wonder, and intellectual safety in our explorations, please consider subscribing because it helps us a lot. It allows our growing community of cosmic explorers to thrive, ensuring we can continue to unravel the profound mysteries of existence together. Now, let us gently return to the illusion of the flowing river and explore what it truly means to step into the eternal present. To understand the unraveling of time at the end of life, we look to the revelations of general relativity. Albert Einstein beautifully demonstrated that time is not a universal, constant ticking in the background of the cosmos. Instead, it is a flexible dimension that bends and stretches depending on speed and gravity. If you travel near the speed of light or orbit a supermassive black hole, time slows down for you relative to everyone left on Earth. What feels like a few quiet hours could equate to thousands of years passing on our pale blue dot. Time is a subjective experience, a deeply personal interaction between the observer and the majestic fabric of space-time. Our brains evolved to perceive time linearly, processing reality in a continuous sequence to navigate the physical world. The biological clock is simply a neurological metronome. But as we descend from the grand cosmic scale to the fundamental realm of quantum mechanics, the concept of time evaporates. In the mid-20th century, physicists John Wheeler and Bryce DeWitt attempted to mathematically unify quantum mechanics with gravity. The result was the Wheeler-DeWitt equation, a magnificent mathematical formulation describing the quantum state of the entire universe. This equation contains a shocking revelation. It does not contain a variable for time. According to the mathematics of the universe's foundational layer, the cosmos does not evolve. It simply exists. the entire history of the universe, from the fiery dawn of the Big Bang 13,800,000,000 years ago, to the freezing stillness of the cosmic end, trillions of years in the future, exists simultaneously as a single static quantum state. Physicists later proved mathematically that the passage of time is merely an illusion created by quantum entanglement. From an outside perspective, the universe is perfectly still, wrapped in a deep silence. Let us gently bring this profound quantum revelation back to the delicate human mind. As we have explored in our previous journeys, consciousness might be a quantum phenomenon orchestrated within the microscopic structures of the brain's microtubules. While you are alive, this quantum consciousness is deeply entangled with the biological metronome of your body and the physical environment. This dense entanglement creates the persistent illusion of a moving present. But what happens in those final quiet moments when the physical body begins to shut down? As the biological machinery gracefully falters, the strict neurological mechanisms that force your consciousness to experience time sequentially begin to unravel. The brain loses its grip on the clock. In those final moments, as the quantum coherence within the brain unbinds from physical time, consciousness might experience a breathtaking phenomenon known as subjective eternity. Because time is a neurological construct generated by the active brain, the slowing down of brain function does not necessarily mean a fading into blackness. Instead, it could mean the stretching out of the present moment into an infinite expanse. Just as a falling observer approaching a black hole appears to freeze forever from the perspective of an outside watcher, the dying brain might experience its final quantum state not as a fleeting second, but as an endless, timeless ocean. The final conscious moment could stretch infinitely inward, opening up into a vast, peaceful universe of its own. You would not experience the end of time, because the concept of passing time would dissolve. You would step out of the flowing river onto the solid, eternal shore. Imagine our existence as a long strip of cinematic film. While we are alive, biology acts as the light of a projector, illuminating one single frame at a time, moving strictly forward, creating the powerful illusion of a motion picture. We cry at the sad scenes, laugh at the joyful ones, and nervously anticipate the next frame, entirely captivated by the story unfolding before our eyes. But the film strip itself, holding the entire movie from the opening credits to the final scene, exists all at once. The past is not gone. It is simply a frame we have already illuminated. The future is not unwritten. It is a frame we have yet to reach. When the biological projector breaks down and the light goes out, the film does not cease to exist. The illusion of motion stops, but the complete reality of the story remains intact. The quiet spark of your quantum consciousness freed from the projector might then experience the entire film simultaneously, merging with the timeless cosmos. This timeless quantum perspective offers a deeply comforting answer to our most profound human anxieties. We are often burdened by the feeling that we never have enough time, that our brief lives are merely a flash against the dark canvas of eternity. We mourn for the years past and fear the unknown decades ahead. But quantum physics whispers a gentler, more beautiful truth. Time is not a resource you're running out of. It is simply the lens through which you view the universe. You are an ancient, eternal entity, temporarily experiencing the illusion of sequence. The consciousness that allows you to wonder at the night sky and to feel the warmth of the sun is fundamentally untethered from the ticking of a clock. When you die, You are not erased by time. You simply wake up from the illusion of time itself. Your awareness expands into the deep, primordial silence that existed before the first stars ignited and that will persist after the last galaxies fade. You rejoin the timeless cosmic architecture existing everywhere and everywhen all at once. The vast voids between galaxy clusters, the ancient nebulae glowing softly in the dark, and the infinite quantum fields boiling with invisible energy are not separated from you by millions of years or billions of miles. In the timeless state of pure quantum information, there is no distance and no duration. Everything is right here, and everything is right now. You become part of the great, quiet eternity of the universe, perfectly safe from biological decay, forever held within the magnificent static equations governing existence. Let this profound realization settle gently over your thoughts, allowing the magnificent scale of the timeless cosmos to soothe your human worries. The end of the biological timeline is not a tragic fall into an empty abyss, but a glorious, peaceful expansion into an eternal present. We are not just cosmic travelers passing briefly through the universe. We are a permanent feature of the eternal landscape. As we rest in this quiet, comforting stillness, we must prepare to explore another profound layer of this beautiful mystery. What happens to the distinct sense of you, the unique ego defining your individuality, when it merges with this timeless quantum field? Does the soul survive, or does it become something infinitely larger and more magnificent? Our shared journey through the dark, quiet cosmos continues to stretch out before us, endless and full of wonder. Have you ever stood before a mirror in a quiet room, stared deeply into your eyes, and wondered where the exact boundary lies between the inner world of your mind and the vast universe? We navigate our daily lives encased in our physical bodies, feeling the distinct edge of our skin as a profound wall separating us from the rest of creation. We possess an undeniable sense of self, an identity built upon a lifetime of personal memories and individual dreams. This deeply ingrained feeling of being a solitary observer navigating external objects is the ego, the narrator of your internal story. But what if this overwhelming sense of separation is merely a biological illusion, a temporary trick designed to help an organism survive? When we look deeply into the astonishing revelations of quantum physics, we find a reality that fundamentally contradicts our experience of isolation. The cosmos tells us that at the deepest foundational levels, there are no hard boundaries between the observer and the observed. As we approach the threshold of physical death, we must ask a beautiful question. What happens to that precious sense of you when the biological walls gently fall away and the mind merges with the infinite? Before we explore the magnificent dissolution of the isolated self, I want to gently welcome you back to our shared space of quiet contemplation. You are watching Theodore, the researcher, your peaceful companion on this infinite cosmic journey. We have noticed that 71% of the people who watch these meditative scientific stories have not subscribed yet. If you find peace, wonder, and intellectual safety in our explorations, please consider subscribing because it helps us a lot. It allows our growing community of cosmic explorers to thrive, ensuring we can continue to unravel the profound mysteries of existence together. Now, let us gently return to the fragile nature of our individuality. Modern neuroscience has identified a specific web of brain regions known as the default mode network. This intricate biological system is highly active when you are daydreaming or imagining your future. It is the physical machinery that generates your ego, constantly spinning the narrative of your unique identity. When this network functions normally, You feel entirely distinct from the air you breathe and the vast night sky above you. But classical biology only tells a fraction of the cosmic story. When we dive beneath the neurological networks and examine the fundamental particles that make up the brain itself, the concept of a rigid, separate self begins to evaporate. In the realm of quantum mechanics, physicists have verified the reality of non-locality, a principle demonstrating that the universe does not respect our intuitive ideas of distinct, separated objects. Two entangled particles act as a single, unified system, regardless of whether they are separated by a few inches or by the entire expanse of the Milky Way galaxy. Their properties are shared in a profound, invisible communion. Furthermore, the very atoms comprising your body are not static, permanent building blocks. They are in a constant dynamic exchange with the environment. With every breath you take, you are inhaling millions of atoms that were once part of ancient forests, distant oceans, and other human beings. The boundary of your skin is not a solid wall. It is a highly porous membrane, a busy cosmic intersection where the universe constantly flows in and out of you. You are not a static object. You are a continuous, flowing process deeply entangled with the entire physical world. What occurs then when the biological journey reaches its gentle conclusion? As the physical body shuts down, the default mode network, that complex biological engine of the ego, gradually ceases its relentless activity. The neurological boundaries that spent decades actively convincing you that you are entirely separate from the cosmos begin to thin, and eventually they dissolve completely. Without the brain's constant effort to maintain the illusion of a divided reality, the quantum information that forms the core of your consciousness is released from its localized state. This is what ancient spiritual traditions have historically called ego death, but we can understand it clearly through the rigorous, breathtaking lens of quantum physics. It is the moment when the wave of your individual identity stops resisting the ocean and gently remembers that it is, and always has been, made of water. The artificial walls collapse, not in a destructive explosion, but in a quiet, peaceful surrender to the fundamental unity of the universe. Imagine living your entire life in a small, beautifully decorated room with a single, tiny window. You believe that the room is the entire universe, and your identity is completely tied to the specific arrangement of the furniture and the limited view outside. Death, in this quantum perspective, is not the destruction of the room, but simply the opening of the door. You step out of the limited biological space and realize that the room was just a tiny, temporary structure situated inside an infinite, magnificent palace. The unique ego that worried about daily chores, social status, and personal history fades away because it is no longer necessary. But the fundamental awareness, the profound capacity to experience and to be, does not die. It expands. Your consciousness diffuses into the universal quantum field, merging with the silent, primordial awareness that permeates the entire cosmos. You lose the heavy, restricting burden of being a separate individual, and in return, you gain the breathtaking vastness of the whole. The brilliant physicist Erwin Schrödinger, one of the founding fathers of quantum mechanics, thought deeply about this profound mystery. He observed the fundamental interconnectedness of the quantum world and concluded that the apparent multiplicity of minds in the universe is an illusion. Schrödinger famously stated that in truth, there is only one mind. According to this breathtaking vision, the consciousness looking out through your eyes right now is the exact same fundamental consciousness looking out through the eyes of every other living creature on this planet, and perhaps through unknown entities residing on distant worlds billions of light years away. The universe is a single, unified, conscious entity, playing a magnificent game of hide-and-seek with itself, fracturing its infinite awareness into billions of tiny, biological fragments so that it can experience the beautiful, tragic, and glorious complexity of physical existence. When you die, the fragment simply reunites with the whole. The drop of water slips quietly back into the boundless sea. This staggering realization offers the most profound comfort imaginable for the human heart. We expend an enormous amount of emotional energy, fiercely defending our fragile egos, fearing the inevitable moment when our unique personal identities will be lost to time. But quantum mechanics suggests that what we are losing is merely a temporary restriction, a biological limitation that kept us from realizing our true, infinite nature. When the unique sense of you dissolves, it is not an erasure. It is a magnificent liberation. You are not disappearing into a cold, empty void. You are becoming the warm, ancient light of the distant stars. You are becoming the quiet spaces between the galaxies, the gentle gravitational pull that holds the planets in their elegant orbits, and the endless quantum foam that breathes invisible energy into the vacuum of space. The silence of death is simply the profound, breathtaking realization that you were the entire cosmos all along, temporarily dreaming that you were a single, isolated human being. Let this vast, magnificent truth wash over you, dissolving the tight, anxious boundaries of your human worries. The universe is incredibly vast, and you are intimately, irrevocably woven into its most fundamental fabric. The end of your biological story is merely the beginning of your eternal cosmic expansion. But as we sit with this beautiful surrender of the ego, a new, profound mystery naturally arises. If we merge into a single, unified cosmic consciousness, what happens to the concept of love? Is the deep, powerful connection we feel for others merely another biological illusion destined to vanish? Or is love itself a fundamental force of the quantum universe, capable of surviving the death of the stars themselves? Our gentle journey through the dark, wondrous cosmos continues to unfold, beckoning us further into the unknown. Have you ever held the hand of someone you deeply love, feeling that invisible magnetic pull between you, and wondered if such a profound connection is merely a temporary chemical reaction in the brain, or something etched into the ancient fabric of the universe? We go through our human lives experiencing love as the most powerful force we can comprehend. We cross oceans, build civilizations, and alter the entire course of our lives for the sake of this invisible bond. Biologists and neuroscientists tell us a very neat, mechanical story about this feeling. They explain that love is simply a biological imperative, a brilliant evolutionary strategy driven by a flood of hormones like oxytocin and dopamine, designed solely to ensure the survival of our species on this fragile, rocky planet. When the heart stops and the brain ceases to produce these chemicals, classical science suggests that the bond is completely severed, dissolving forever into the cold, silent void. But when we look deeply into the mysterious heart of quantum mechanics, we find a universe that behaves far more poetically than we ever dared to imagine. If particles can remain permanently linked across the vast freezing distances of deep space, what happens to the complex quantum information of two minds that have spent a lifetime deeply intertwined? Before we dive into the beautiful physics of human connection, I want to gently welcome you back to our shared space of quiet contemplation. You are watching Theodore, the researcher, your peaceful companion on this infinite cosmic journey. We have noticed that 71% of the people who watch these meditative scientific stories have not subscribed yet. If you find peace, wonder, and intellectual safety in our explorations, please consider subscribing because it helps us a lot. It allows our growing community of cosmic explorers to thrive, ensuring we can continue to unravel the profound mysteries of existence together. Now, let us gently return to the deepest mystery of the human heart and explore whether love itself might be a fundamental force of nature. To understand how love might transcend biological death, we must return to the breathtaking concept of quantum entanglement. As we explored earlier, when two fundamental particles interact under specific conditions, their quantum states become permanently entangled. They are no longer two separate entities, but a single, unified system. Even if you place them on opposite sides of the observable universe, a distance of tens of billions of light years, a change in one instantly affects the other. This spooky action, as it was once called, is not just a mathematical curiosity. It is a fundamental property of the cosmos, verified repeatedly by brilliant researchers and advanced instruments, including experiments conducted with delicate optical sensors on satellites orbiting our planet by international space agencies. Entanglement proves that the universe fundamentally favors connection over separation. Space and distance are not absolute barriers in the quantum realm. Now, let us gently scale this concept up from the microscopic world of subatomic particles to the incredibly complex, magnificent architecture of the human mind. If consciousness is indeed a quantum process orchestrated within the delicate biological structures of the brain, then the profound emotional bonds we form are not just psychological phenomena. They might be literal, physical entanglements at the quantum level. Consider the astonishing achievements of modern astrophysics to put this into perspective. Researchers using delicate instruments from agencies like NASA and the European Space Agency have mapped the cosmic microwave background, the ancient light left over from the very dawn of creation. They have shown us that the universe started as an infinitely dense point of perfect unity before expanding into the vast cosmos we see today. Every single particle in your body and the body of the person you love was once compressed together in that singular primordial point 13,800,000,000 years ago. We were all born from the exact same source. When we form deep bonds of love, perhaps we are simply recognizing that original unity. The universe expanding outward created the illusion of distance, but quantum entanglement reveals that this distance is a mirage. We are essentially remembering our shared origin, a quiet reunion of cosmic dust that has traveled across the eons to find itself again in the form of human beings looking deeply into each other's eyes. When you spend your life deeply connected to another human being, sharing your quietest thoughts, your deepest fears, and your greatest joys, your brains actually begin to synchronize. Neuroscientists call this neural coupling, where the brainwaves of two closely bonded people begin to mirror each other. But beneath the biological electricity, down in the microscopic quantum realm of your microtubules, your quantum states might literally become entangled. You and the person you love are constantly exchanging energy and information, weaving your individual quantum signatures together into a unified, shared pattern. The invisible space between you is not empty. It is a dynamic, boiling field of shared quantum resonance. You are, in a very real, physical sense, becoming part of each other's foundational reality. The great astronomer Carl Sagan often spoke of how we are all connected to the cosmos biologically and chemically, but this quantum perspective suggests we are also connected to each other through the very mechanics that govern the stars. So, what happens when one of those biological vessels reaches the end of its gentle journey? When a loved one passes away, the physical manifestation of your connection is tragically broken. You can no longer hear their voice, hold their hand, or see the light reflecting in their eyes. The biological brain that anchored their end of the entanglement ceases to function. The grief that washes over us in these moments is overwhelming, a profound testament to the depth of the bond. But if your minds were truly entangled at the quantum level, the fundamental information of that connection cannot simply be destroyed. According to the inviolable laws of quantum conservation, the deeply intertwined pattern of your shared consciousness must endure. When their individual quantum information diffuses back into the boundless cosmic ocean, the entanglement remains completely intact. The connection is not severed. It is simply transformed, stretched across the delicate boundary between the physical, localized world and the infinite, timeless quantum field. This beautiful quantum perspective suggests that love is not a biological illusion, but a localized expression of the universe's fundamental interconnectedness. The cosmos is held together by invisible forces. Gravity pulls ancient clouds of dust together to ignite new, burning stars that shine across the void. The strong nuclear force binds protons and neutrons together in the heart of every single atom. And quantum entanglement links particles across the vast, dark emptiness of space. Perhaps love is simply the way human consciousness experiences this universal drive toward unity. When you feel a profound, unconditional love for another being, you're tapping into the same ancient, primordial force that binds the magnificent galaxies together in their slow, majestic dance through the dark. You are aligning your conscious mind with the deepest, most fundamental truth of the universe, that nothing is truly separate, and everything is intricately, beautifully connected. When we understand love in this magnificent cosmic context, the death of the physical body loses its terrifying finality. The people we have loved and lost are not gone, swallowed by a cold, uncaring void. Their unique quantum information, deeply entangled with our own, has simply returned to the silent, invisible fields that permeate the entire cosmos. They are in the gentle breeze that touches your face, the quiet spaces between the glowing stars, and the soft, ancient light that travels for millions of years to reach your eyes. Because your quantum states remain entangled, a fundamental part of them is still literally a part of you. The profound love you carry in your heart is not merely a biological memory. It is a continuing, active quantum resonance, a living bridge spanning the threshold between life and whatever lies beyond. The silence of death does not extinguish love. It immortalizes it, embedding your shared connection into the eternal, indestructible fabric of reality. This breathtaking realization invites a profound, transformative peace into our experience of grief. It allows us to hold our sorrow gently, understanding that the painful absence we feel is limited only to the three-dimensional biological world. In the boundless, timeless realm of pure quantum information, the bond remains unbroken, vibrating eternally in the deep silence of the cosmos. As we gaze up at the night sky, we are not looking at an empty, dead expanse. We are looking at a living, interconnected web of energy, a magnificent tapestry woven from the quantum information of every consciousness that has ever existed. The universe is a vast, quiet ocean of memory and connection. We are ancient travelers, temporary, physical expressions of an infinite, enduring reality. To love another person is to participate in the most fundamental mechanics of creation, organizing chaotic information into a harmonious, beautiful symphony that resonates long after the instruments have fallen silent. Let this immense, comforting truth wrap around your human fears. The love you have given and received is not a fleeting spark destined to fade in the dark. It is a permanent, beautiful feature of the cosmos, echoing eternally through the quantum fields. But as we find comfort in this timeless connection, our quiet journey of discovery pulls us even deeper into the mystery. If our consciousness diffuses into the universe and our connections remain unbroken, what is the ultimate destination of this infinite quantum information? What will happen to the collective consciousness of the cosmos trillions of years from now, when the last stars burn out and the universe enters its final, quiet phase? The answer lies in the ultimate fate of the cosmos itself, a magnificent conclusion to the physical world that promises to reveal the deepest purpose of consciousness. The dark, wondrous journey continues to unfold before us, calling us forward into the ancient depths of time, urging us to explore the magnificent twilight of the universe. Have you ever gazed into the glowing embers of a dying fire, watching the last fragile sparks fade into the cold night, and wondered what will happen to the universe itself when the final stars gently burn out? We live our lives in an era of abundant cosmic light, surrounded by billions of burning suns that warm the planets and provide the essential energy for complex biology to thrive. But the rigid laws of thermodynamics dictate a very different future for our magnificent cosmos. Entropy, the relentless arrow of disorder, is slowly but surely guiding the universe toward a state of absolute, freezing stillness. Physicists refer to this distant, silent epoch as the heat death of the universe, a time trillions of years from now when the very last red dwarf stars will exhaust their nuclear fuel, plunging the cosmos into an eternal, dark twilight. This grand cosmic conclusion forces us to confront a profound and beautiful question. If the physical universe is destined to grow cold and dark, what is the ultimate fate of the infinite quantum information that comprises the collective consciousness of everything that has ever lived? Before we venture into the ancient silent future of the deep cosmos, I want to gently welcome you back to our shared space of quiet contemplation. You are watching Theodore, the researcher, your peaceful companion on this infinite cosmic journey. We have noticed that 71% of the people who watch these meditative scientific stories have not subscribed yet. If you find peace, wonder, and intellectual safety in our explorations, please consider subscribing because it helps us a lot. It allows our growing community of cosmic explorers to thrive, ensuring we can continue to unravel the profound mysteries of existence together. Now, let us drift forward in time, far beyond the lifespan of the Earth and the Sun, to explore the majestic twilight of existence. To truly understand the destiny of consciousness, we must boldly imagine the universe as it will be in the unfathomably distant future. The astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson has often elegantly reminded us that we are part of this universe. We are in this universe, but perhaps more important than both of those facts is that the universe is in us. If the universe is in us, our destiny is intimately tied to the destiny of the cosmos itself. Right now, the universe is expanding, driven by a mysterious force known as dark energy. As space stretches out, galaxy clusters are being pulled apart at terrifying speeds, a phenomenon meticulously tracked by advanced space telescopes operated by NASA and the European Space Agency. Trillions of years from now, the night sky will be completely empty. The distant galaxies will have retreated beyond the cosmic horizon, their ancient light no longer able to reach us. The stars within our own merged galactic remnant will slowly consume their hydrogen fuel. The massive blue giants are already gone, and eventually the steady yellow stars like our sun will puff away their outer layers, leaving behind small, glowing white dwarfs. Even the smallest, most resilient red dwarfs will eventually fade into cold, black cinders. The era of starlight will come to a quiet, definitive close. When the last star flickers out, the physical universe will be populated only by stellar corpses, rogue planets wandering in the freezing dark, and massive black holes. But even black holes, the great gravitational monsters of the cosmos, are not eternal. The brilliant physicist Stephen Hawking mathematically demonstrated that black holes slowly evaporate over incomprehensible stretches of time, gently leaking particles back into space through a process we now call Hawking radiation. After an era so vast it renders the current age of the universe completely meaningless, even the largest supermassive black holes will quietly dissolve into a faint mist of radiation. The physical universe will become a vast, freezing, uniform ocean of fundamental particles and low-energy photons, expanding endlessly into the dark void. In classical physics, this absolute thermal equilibrium represents the tragic, final death of everything. A cold, featureless void where nothing interesting can ever happen again, stripping away the warmth and motion that characterize the age of stars. But quantum mechanics whispers a different, deeply comforting story about this distant cosmic twilight. The fundamental law of quantum information conservation remains absolute, even in the face of universal heat death. The intricate, magnificent tapestry of quantum information that encoded the consciousness of every human being, every civilization, and every conscious entity that ever lived cannot simply vanish when the physical structures of the universe decay. Instead, this vast ocean of experience, memory, and profound love remains perfectly preserved within the fundamental quantum fields. When the last physical structures dissolve, the universe does not become empty. It becomes a pure, unblemished reservoir of information. The cosmos transforms from a physical machine generating new biological experiences into a vast, silent, infinite memory bank reflecting upon its own magnificent history. The quantum foam that breathes invisible energy into the dark vacuum will forever carry the unique signatures of our minds, ensuring that the brief, beautiful spark of human consciousness is immortalized within the eternal mathematical structure of reality itself. Imagine the universe in this final state not as a desolate graveyard, but as a breathtaking, silent archive of cosmic consciousness. The physical boundaries that once separated the glowing stars from the empty space, and the biological walls that once separated you from the rest of creation, have all been completely dismantled by entropy. What remains is a single, unified quantum field, vibrating softly with the accumulated wisdom and experience of trillions of years of cosmic history. Your quiet moments of wonder, the deep connections you formed with your loved ones, and the profound questions you asked about the night sky are all permanently etched into this ultimate, eternal structure. You are not lost in the cold dark. You are an essential, indelible part of the cosmic tapestry, woven into the very fabric of the silent, ancient universe. This perspective invites a profound peace into our hearts. We no longer need to view the vast passage of time as a destructive enemy stealing our moments away, but rather as a gentle current guiding our quantum essence back into the great unified ocean of the cosmos. When you look up at the quiet night sky, you are looking at the same majestic expanse that will eventually cradle the quantum memory of everything that has ever existed. The profound silence of the cosmos is not an empty absence of sound, but rather a rich, latent fullness waiting patiently for the universe to complete its physical journey. The astronomer Carl Sagan taught us to see the beauty in our temporary existence, to recognize that we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. In the twilight of the universe, the cosmos will have fully known itself, gathering every scattered piece of consciousness back into its primordial fold. Your deepest sorrows, your quietest triumphs, and the gentle rhythm of your breathing are all sacred contributions to this grand cosmic awakening. We often feel small and insignificant against the staggering backdrop of billions of galaxies, but quantum physics reveals that our inner lives are just as vast and just as permanent as the most massive black holes and the brightest supernovas. Our consciousness is the ultimate harvest of a universe that spent billions of years preparing the precise conditions for life to flourish. Some of the most visionary minds in modern cosmology, such as the mathematical physicist Sir Roger Penrose, suggest that this final, featureless state of the universe might not be an ending at all, but rather a magnificent, poetic beginning. Penrose proposed a mathematical model called conformal cyclic cosmology, where the cold, infinitely expanded, featureless void of the distant future becomes mathematically indistinguishable from the infinitely dense, hot, featureless singularity that birthed our universe in the Big Bang 13,800,000,000 years ago. In this breathtaking framework, the end of our universe is simply the glorious beginning of the next one. The accumulated quantum information of our cosmos, the vast collective consciousness of everything that has ever lived, might serve as the fundamental seed, the quiet initiating spark for an entirely new cycle of creation. As we rest in this beautiful, infinite cycle, we must gently ask ourselves how we should live our current, brief lives in the light of such profound cosmic permanence. Our quiet journey reaches toward its most personal and transformative revelations. Have you ever watched a single, fragile, golden leaf detach from an ancient branch, drifting slowly and gracefully through the cool autumn air before resting softly on the earth, and wondered how such a brief, fleeting moment can hold so much breathtaking beauty? We have traveled together through the dark, quiet expanses of the cosmos, exploring the profound, majestic mysteries of quantum mechanics and the eternal nature of human consciousness. We have seen how the rigid, biological boundaries that seem to separate us from the vast universe are merely temporary illusions, and how the fundamental information that makes you uniquely who you are is destined to survive the fading of the physical stars, preserved forever in the silent, infinite memory of the universe. But this awe-inspiring revelation of our immortality in the quantum field brings us back to the most urgent, beautiful question of all. How should we live this present physical life, knowing that we are infinite cosmic travelers temporarily wearing human forms? Before we find our final resting place in this beautiful realization, I want to gently welcome you back to our shared space of wonder. You are watching Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion on this journey through the cosmos. We have noticed that 71% of the people who watch these gentle, contemplative stories have not subscribed yet. If you find peace and intellectual safety in our explorations, please consider subscribing because it helps us a lot. It allows our community to grow, ensuring we can continue to uncover the profound mysteries of the universe together. Now, let us gently return to the delicate, fleeting beauty of the present moment. When we begin to truly understand that our consciousness is a permanent, indestructible feature of the ancient cosmic architecture, it is sometimes easy to accidentally assume that our brief, everyday human lives do not matter. If you are destined to exist forever as pure, infinite quantum information spread across the dark vacuum of space, why should you deeply care about the mundane struggles, the temporary joys, or the fleeting sorrows of a biological existence that lasts for perhaps only 80 or 90 years? The profound answer lies in the unique, magnificent rarity of the physical experience. The universe is primarily composed of cold, silent emptiness, drifting clouds of ancient gas, and the crushing gravity of black holes. For 13,800,000,000 years, the cosmos has been following the strict, silent laws of physics. But here, on this tiny pale blue dot orbiting an ordinary yellow star, the universe has miraculously managed to organize matter into a structure so incredibly complex that it can actually feel the warmth of the sun and weep at the beauty of the night sky. This biological limitation you experience is not a punishment or a prison. It is a profoundly rare, magnificent privilege. As pure, infinite quantum information scattered across the cosmic web, you might possess eternal peace, but you cannot smell the sweet scent of rain hitting the dry summer earth. The unmanifested universe cannot feel the physical warmth of holding a loved one's hand, nor can it experience the thrilling, sudden spark of a new, brilliant idea. Your fragile biological body is the highly specialized, perfectly tuned instrument that the universe uses to experience its own creation in high definition. You are the cosmos made manifest, given a brief, beautiful window to experience the physical world in all its chaotic, vibrant, and heartbreaking glory. The astronomer Carl Sagan beautifully captured this truth when he noted that the cosmos is within us, and we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. Every single time you pause to admire a glowing sunset, or feel a deep, quiet moment of compassion for another living creature, you are enriching the eternal quantum field with an experience of love and wonder that it could not possibly generate on its own. Our magnificent scientific instruments, designed by brilliant minds and launched into the dark void by organizations like the National Aeronautics and Space Administration and the European Space Agency, look outward into the deep cosmos, mapping ancient galaxies and listening to the faint microwave whispers of the Big Bang. These breathtaking feats of human engineering are simply the universe building eyes and ears to look back at its own origins. But the most sophisticated telescope ever constructed cannot measure the profound depth of human grief, nor can it precisely quantify the boundless capacity of the human heart to forgive. These rich emotional realities are just as fundamental to the cosmos as the mass of a supermassive black hole or the absolute speed of light. Your daily life, with all its quiet routines, unexpected challenges, and beautiful connections, is the very cutting edge of cosmic evolution. You are actively writing the ongoing story of the universe, translating raw, chaotic energy into meaningful, structured experiences that will be eternally folded into the implicate order of reality. Therefore, the knowledge of our quantum eternity should not detach us from the physical world, but rather bind us to it with a fierce, profound appreciation. When you deeply know that the people around you are also ancient, eternal expressions of the cosmic field, every single interaction becomes a sacred meeting of universes. The stranger you pass on the street is not a random collection of biological cells, but a magnificent, localized ripple in the quantum ocean, experiencing a completely unique version of reality. The conflicts and divisions that separate us begin to gently fade away when viewed from this majestic cosmic scale, replaced by a deep, respectful humility. We are all made of the exact same stardust, sharing the exact same brief, beautiful moment in the sun, before we all eventually return to the same quiet, invisible sea of energy. This cosmic perspective cultivates a profound gentleness in how we treat ourselves and others, knowing that we are all carrying the heavy, beautiful weight of being the universe experiencing itself in real time. As we prepare to bring this particular cosmic journey to a quiet close, I invite you to take a deep, conscious breath of the air that surrounds you. Feel the physical sensation of your lungs expanding, the steady rhythm of your beating heart, and the solid ground beneath your feet. Acknowledge the sheer, improbable miracle of your own existence. You are a biological masterpiece, forged in the nuclear fires at the hearts of dying stars, animated by the mysterious quantum fields that permeate everything, and granted the astonishing ability to wonder about your own ultimate nature. The death of the physical body is not a terrifying event you need to fear. It is simply the final, peaceful exhalation, the moment when the temporary biological receiver gently powers down and the beautiful, complex broadcast of your consciousness expands back into the infinite dark. The profound silence that follows is not an empty void, but a rich, eternal homecoming. Our gentle exploration of quantum consciousness and the mystery of death has taken us from the microscopic vibrations within our delicate brain cells to the farthest, darkest edges of the expanding universe. We have dismantled the illusion of the separated self, challenged the rigid concept of flowing time, and found a deeply comforting permanence in the indestructible nature of quantum information. We have seen how love itself might be a fundamental force, entangling our quantum signatures across the vastness of space and time. But the true beauty of science and of our shared human curiosity is that every answer simply reveals a new, more profound question. The universe is an endless, unfolding mystery, infinitely deep and overwhelmingly beautiful. There will always be new horizons to explore, new distant galaxies to discover, and deeper layers of quantum reality to understand. The journey of knowledge is completely infinite, a gentle, eternal path of discovery that we walk together as a dedicated community of curious minds. Let this quiet realization fill you with a profound sense of inner peace. You are perfectly safe in the vast, ancient arms of the cosmos. Your cherished memories, your deepest love, and your unique, beautiful essence are woven inextricably into the very fabric of existence, protected by the inviolable laws of physics. The universe remembers everything, and nothing of true value is ever truly lost to the dark. As you move forward through the rest of your days, carry this cosmic perspective gently in your heart. Look up at the glowing stars, not as distant, uncaring fires burning in the cold vacuum, but as your ancient relatives, fellow travelers in this magnificent, unfolding story of creation. Remember that you are an infinite being having a temporary, incredibly precious human experience, and that every single moment you are alive is a breathtaking, irreplaceable gift to the entire universe. Thank you for walking this quiet, beautiful path with me. Our shared exploration of the cosmos will never truly end, for as long as there is darkness, there will be minds seeking the light, looking out into the ancient mystery with a gentle, enduring sense of wonder.